Senate meets security agencies next week over threats in the country.
You to know that it is not because of the fact that we are not passing the buck. We are not blaming any of you for anything.
Senate committee engages customs board on 5.079 trillion naira revenue target.
As a country, if you don't meet up with your debt obligations, it will affect you negatively.
Plus, bill to amend the Electoral Act passes second reading in the House of Representatives.
This will save this country hundreds of millions of naira and will also save time.
Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I am Lami Ali. Securing the nation is a collective responsibility. In line with these facts, heads of security-related ministries and agencies will on Tuesday next week converge in the Red Chamber of the National Assembly for an extensive interaction on the state of security in Nigeria. The decision was reached as plenary as Senate seeks an end to what many see as a disturbing situation. Here is the report. Concerned about reports on ugly trends of security breaches, the Senate, upon reconvening plenary after the New Year break, passed a resolution inviting service chiefs for an interaction. Though the Army, Naval and Air Chiefs, the Inspector General of Police and Director General of the State Security Service were in chamber for the meeting, the President of the Senate, in consultation with the leadership, decided to extend the invitation to include Defense, Police Affairs, Interior and Finance Ministers and head of the National Intelligence Agency. The meeting is therefore shifted to Tuesday next week.
We want you to know that it is not because of the fact that we are not passing the buck. We are not blaming any of you for anything. We believe you are doing your best. We want to hear from you and also make contributions on how we can improve the situation. Principally, security is the most important issue that has been identified. Our job is to complement the efforts of the executive and then also to assist the executive to succeed. Because if the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not succeed, it means that we have all failed.
Plenary featured the first reading of 5 bills, including a special bill that seeks to make provisions for a program to reduce inflation. Then, a special honor for late Senator Bukar Abba Ibrahim.
12 years he served as legislator in the Senate. Bukar Abba Ibrahim distinguished himself through his honesty, frankness to a fault, as he says it, and it is without any fear of contradiction.
He defended democracy when the time was there for us to defend democracy. He was a very bright governor. He served the people of Yebo State very well.
Bukar Abba, as a politician, was a grassroots man, a very transparent and non-corrupt politician. Very simple. I'm sure he died without leaving anything substantial because he believes in whatever he had is for the people.
Nigeria has lost somebody who has great respect to national unity.
He's a very, very prudent and a very disciplined person.
And indeed, a leader that was loved by his people. Virtually every politician that you see of today from Yobe State had gone through the Bukar Abba Ibrahim School of Politics.
In the Senate, someone who was very frank. Whenever there was any motion or bill that had to do with the masses, he was in the forefront.
Plenary has been adjourned to Tuesday, 13th February 2024. The Nigeria Customs Service says integration of technology in all processes would play a key role in achieving the 5.079 trillion naira revenue target in 2024. This came to light during an interactive session with the Senate Committee on Customs. Here is the report. The Nigeria Customs Service, one of the country's major revenue-generating agencies, is meeting with the Senate Committee for the first time since the coming into effect of the 28.7 trillion naira 2024 budget. Chairman of the committee, Senator Issa Jibrin, was emphatic on why revenue-generating agencies must up their game to improve the economy.
In the 2024 budget, a significant percentage of the revenue has been earmarked for debt servicing. As a country, If you don't meet up with your debt obligations, it will affect you negatively in terms of your credit rating in the international market. So you can no longer borrow more. I want to believe that you have a major role to play in our quest to get out of this problem of debt burden.
The Comptroller General of Customs, Bashir Adeni, says the underperformance on revenue in 2023 by more than 12% of the approved target was due to some factors. He, however, explains how the service is looking at several other options to improve the process.
The introduction of VREG and VIN valuation application, which has very huge potential for reducing undervaluation and vehicle tax evasion, would improve customs duty. We also intend to provide windows for perfection of illegally imported vehicles. We expect that if we get the right authorization and we subject them to payment of duty and relevant penalty, we are going to realize a lot of revenue from this.
These are our imported used vehicles. If you go to some of us that go to Kutonu area, a lot of money that Nigerians are supposed to make are just going to other countries. If there's a way of making this importation to come officially through our port, it will help us a lot.
Officers and other ranks are staying in makeshift accommodation, which is not befitting of a custom officer. And it will go a long way in affecting their productivity, especially during these harsh winter months.
Capacity building, motivation of staff, and adhering to the principle of legislative compliance are other areas the service expresses commitment to give special attention to for optimal results. Treatment and care for victims of gunshot wounds was the focus of an investigative hearing organized by the Senate and House Joint Committee on Health. Amina Saidu reports that the need for the federal government to intervene and bring to an end frequent industrial action by resident doctors was also brought to the fore at the hearing.
The public hearing followed a motion at both chambers on the need to have a second look at an act of 2017 for the treatment of gunshot wound victims and other emergency situations before involving the police.
This hearing should be an avenue for everyone to bring out whatever we know about what we want to wrap or make it facts very clear for us to get to a conclusion as to what we want to achieve in order to bring a kind of, meeting the objective we want for our system.
The case of Greatness Olorunfemi, a victim of traffic robbery who was taken to Maitama General Hospital, and alleged refusal of treatment opened the floor for engagements.
Every hospital in Nigeria, whether public or private, shall accept or receive for immediate and adequate treatment with or without police clearance any person with a gunshot wound or any other emergency.
Working hand in glove with our CMDs and MDs of all our hospitals, we have instructed them that there's absolutely no way a gunshot victim would not be treated. With or without any payment, it has to be done.
To ascertain some salient issues, committee members paid an oversight visit to Maitama Hospital, where a live recording from a CCTV camera of what transpired on the evening of Greatness Olorunfemi's untimely death was made available.
We believe that with the various actionable steps that will be taken, we will definitely do what we have been called to do, to represent our people very well, to ensure that we make available those things that can provide timely and urgent treatment, medical treatment for our citizens.
Meanwhile, the report is expected to be presented at plenary. Amina Saidu, NTA News.
Laws are dynamic, and Nigeria's evolving democracy must go in tune with the changes. So, a bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act 2022 to enable elections into the office of the President, National Assembly, state governors and state houses of assembly to be conducted on the same day has scaled second reading as the House of Representatives. The bill, sponsored by Representative Francis Waive, also proposes that the Independent National Electoral Commission carries out a fresh registration of all eligible voters every 10 years in preparation for general elections. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikpen brings us details from the Green Chamber.
Speaker Tajuddin Abbas made it clear at resumption of plenary earlier this year that amendment of the Electoral Act 2022 will be a priority of the House in line with its legislative agenda, which proposes law reforms to engender good governance.
5 amendments of the Electoral Act 2022 are being proposed. They include amendment of relevant sections of the Principal Act to make electronic transmission of results mandatory for presiding officers, enforcement of the rule of no accreditation, no voting, and imposition of heavy fines for frivolous election petitions.
All the elections be held on one single day, except, of course, off-cycle elections. This will save this country hundreds of millions of naira and will also save time.
If you can vote for 3 electoral positions, what's stop us from voting the 5 at the same day?
If I'm 18, so what you're telling me now that for the next 10 years, I'm not going to participate in an election.
We should find a way of not punishing the voter for the fault of INEC.
Elections as a critical democratic ritual, right, should be taken very seriously, and the gaps that have been identified should be remedied.
Are we sure that the registers that we are having are really what they are supposed to be?
Another bill seeking the establishment of Federal Vocational and Skills Acquisition College, Yankaba, Kano State, also passed second reading, while a motion seeking investigation of the basis for NAFDAC's ban on production of beverages in sachets was adopted.
The ban on the production of the said beverages will cause more havoc and cause job losses to over 50% of workers in Nigeria.
The House, in another resolution, is inviting the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and heads of all security agencies to brief lawmakers on measures towards curbing insecurity in the nation's capital.
The security agencies of government ought to urgently move to digitalize their operations to return the Federal Capital Territory to its safest haven.
Meanwhile, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas is billed to address a World Press Conference on critical national issues on Thursday. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
Time now for a break, and when we return, INEC presents certificates of return to federal lawmakers. Please stay tuned.
Are you looking for a short channel to make your business, goods and services go viral? Look no further, as NTA Parliament is your short channel. Take advantage of our wider reach and advertise your products and services on NTA Parliament DSTV channel 370, GoTV channel 126, StarTimes channel 306, and Free TV channel 706. For more inquiries, contact the Marketing Department, NTA Parliament, NTA Headquarters Area 11 Garki Abuja, or call these numbers 080-383-40464 or 080-770-78055. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
18 federal lawmakers will soon join their colleagues in the National Assembly as INEC presents certificates of return to them after a successful outing at February 3rd rerun end by elections. Mie Ogidi reports on the presentation and decisions by INEC for the suspended elections in some constituencies.
87, 58.
Bye-bye to by-elections in the 2023 general election cycle, and rerun almost rounded off, except 3 pending, which I will give you details later. INEC National Commissioners seated, just for one assignment, no speech, but to present certificates of return to winners from their zones. Ken came first as he supervised Ebonyi South senatorial poll. Victorious 3 senators and 15 House of Representative members having their certificates. Warm handshake, joy-filled lips glaring as they endorsed their pens on the acknowledgement note. For the 45 state lawmakers, the respective state resident electoral commissioners will schedule a date for the presentation of the certificates of return on or before the end of this week, that is, before the 11th of February 2024.
It is indeed a day of celebration for many, but for others, their fate is still hanging because INEC suspended elections in Kano, Enugu, and Akwa Ibom State, and that of inconclusive one in Taraba State. But after a review of the process in Akwa Ibom State, that is any federal constituency, the commission applied the principle of margin of lead. So the candidate was declared winner, certificate was also presented. But the elections in Taraba and Enugu State are to be conducted again on the 14th of February 2024. But that of Kano is still pending because of security issues. And the Commissioner of Police Kano State had an interview with me and gave some perspective to the security situation in the state.
They wanted to cause mayhem, but the prompt intervention of the police and the combined agencies had prevented mass casualty in view of the election.
With these elections almost coming to an end finally, attention will totally be shifted now to Edo and Ondo State, as the elections are scheduled for September and November this year. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
The Ogun State House of Assembly has passed a resolution mandating regulatory agencies to enforce safety precautions in the handling and storing of explosives such as dynamite in the state. This follows a motion to prevent the reoccurrence of the Ibadan explosion, moved by the minority leader of the House, Lukman Adelie. Correspondent Yemi Dalemo reports on this and other engagements of the House.
Worried by the recent dynamite explosion in Ibadan, Oyo State, and the increasing number of quarries in Ogun State where dynamite are being used to blast rocks, the lawmaker representing Odo-Ogbolu constituency moved a motion for the urgent need for all regulatory agencies to enforce safety precautions in the handling of explosives, urging the Ogun State Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and that of the Environment to actively enforce compliance.
I rise this morning to raise a motion on urgent need for all regulatory agencies to enforce safety precautions in the handling and storing of explosives, otherwise known as dynamite, in Ogun State. Whereas the recent tragic incident in Oyo State resulting from an explosion attributed to illegal mining activities necessitates immediate action to prevent similar occurrences in Ogun State.
Other lawmakers supported the motion and made it a resolution of the House.
Mr. Speaker, the mining industry is basically exclusive. And I think that this alone is a major issue in tackling the excesses of all of these miners, and particularly the illegal miners. Mr. Speaker, I believe that there should be a review of some mining activities to come under the concurrent list.
This motion will be tagged the right thing at the right time. Sometime last year or year before, a similar occurrence occurred in my constituency, which led to loss of lives and property. A particular company dealing with explosives had an error somewhere, and it led to a similar case that happened in Oyo State.
As a co-sponsor of this motion, I want us to see it as a preventive and crisis management mechanism to solving such occurrences. By saying crisis management, we are saying efforts that you put in place before crisis occur.
For all regulatory agencies to enforce safety precautions in the handling and storing of explosive dynamites in Ogun State. Say aye.
If you're against, say nay. The ayes have it, and so ordered.
The House also considered the report of the Joint Committee on Industry, Trade and Investment, as well as that of Ethics, with the aim of resolving the crisis rocking the Truck Owners Association of Nigeria and the Nigeria Union of Mine Workers over revenue collection in Ogun State. The lawmaker representing Ijebu North East, Oluwaseun Adesanya, and that of Shagamu 2 constituency, Ademola Adeniran and Yewa 2, Wahab Haruna, informed the House of the kidnapping and the ritual killing of a primary school pupil in Odotu, Ijebu North East, and the encroachment of Mayflower School, and appealed for adequate security in public schools across the state.
Now, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, congratulates Nigeria's Super Eagles for qualifying for the finals of the Total Energies 2023 AFCON by beating the Bafana of South Africa by 4-2 in a penalty shootout. Akpabio, in a congratulatory message, says the result of the match was the product of Nigeria's team spirit and unwavering resilience. He said the Nigerian team displayed a high sense of discipline and industry to subdue their South African counterparts, adding that this affirms the Super Eagles will certainly bring the trophy back to Nigeria by the grace of God. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has congratulated the Super Eagles of Nigeria for beating the Bafana of South Africa to qualify for the finals of the African Cup of Nations AFCON, taking place in Côte d'Ivoire. The Speaker, in a statement, says he is elated by the feat the Super Eagles have achieved, while expressing optimism that the Nigerian national football team would bring home the trophy. Speaker Abbas, while wishing the Super Eagles the best of luck in the final on Sunday, said Nigerians are fully behind the national team. The Speaker is expected to be in Côte d'Ivoire on Sunday to cheer up the Super Eagles. Similarly, Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, while congratulating the team, charged the players to be focused on winning the trophy. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has hailed the Super Eagles for their resounding victory over the Bafana of South Africa in the semi-finals of the African Nations Cup, describing their performance as the stuff of legends. The minister said the Super Eagles displayed remarkable talents, determination and teamwork throughout the match, showcasing the true spirit of Nigerian football. The minister said as the Super Eagles look forward to the final match, the nation and the government stand firmly behind them, while expressing confidence in their ability to emerge victorious and bring home the African Nations Cup trophy once again. That's it on the news. Thank you for watching, but remember, you can still watch our news and other programs on the social media handles on your screen. My name is Lami Ali. Do have a good evening.